Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the morning market analysis and trade plan setup for Monday, June the 30th, 2014. It is the last day of the month. How about that? Hopefully everybody had a great week. We've got lots to discuss. My name is Doug McKay. I am the founder and head moderator of Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap is a private organization. It is not a commercial venture. We're coming up on our 5th anniversary. We are a group of retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. We have a private Skype room that you can join if you like. If you're interested, give me a contact request at Doug_McKay. I'll be the one from Windsor, Ontario, Canada. Or you can send me an email request at d.mckay@stealthtrader.com. Of course, you will need a Skype account in order to come into the room until we get the website stealthtrader.com completed. Anyway, each morning we come into a live pre-market session to look at the structure, look at the day, look at the trends from the macro to the micro, the key numbers from the macro to micro. We go through our routine and we get prepared for trading. We do the macro to the micro, and it's part of our routine. We don't get into any in-depth chart analysis until probably about 15 minutes in. So you might want to just, if you're watching this on YouTube, skip ahead. But we can't skip because we're preparing for our trading day. But of course, I've got to get the legals done, so let me do that. This information is for the purpose of members who want to expand their knowledge of the business of trading. It's not for trading or investment advice. You and only you are responsible for the trades or investment decisions made. Trading futures or any instrument involves risk loss. Please consider carefully whether futures or options are appropriate to financial situation. Only risk capital should be used when trading futures or options. Investors can lose more than the initial investment. Nobody at Quantum Leap is a certified trading advisor. We are retail traders operating within a self-organized learning environment. Past performance is not indicative of future results, and any trades that you see in Quantum Leap are for education purposes only. Please trade your own plan, do your own due diligence. Okay, let's jump right into this. Now, last night I was doing my homework and just disappeared, and taking a look at the week. So I posted this in the room, and I did it again. And I just want to go through this so that you can start thinking about this. And this sort of gives you a preamble of what I'm thinking out. So what I did is I've been playing around with the levels, and I took a micro composite and put it all the way back to 052614 because I wanted to see, in all this move up from that breakout around that 1981.50, key balance area, and the composite VPOC from the June contract adjusted down to 1175.50, I think it is. We'll take a look at it. The most accepted price, that's where it all started, with that breakout. And right now, I think the key thing that we've got to look at is we're holding value higher right now, and they've come up. The most accepted price for all this period of time is still right above us. And, so I want you to start thinking in terms of the auction logic and what three main scenarios will play out this week. And we'll talk about this a little bit later on. But you can see that, we worked our way up, and there's a number 4 in here, but it kind of dropped off. And it was the fact that we came down here and tested this 1939, 1940 level where we tried to hold after the old swing high, that June high at 1954.75 adjusted to the September contract at 1947.50. But once we tried to hold that 39, we couldn't, and we came all the way back down into this, above the lower distribution in around that 1918.75. Then we slowly worked our way back up. We accepted value higher at 1927.25. Then we came up and we accepted value up here in around 1949.25. And then we accepted it higher up here in around 1953. And then we went up and made our all-time high. We ran out of inventory. They had to go and look for buyers. And what did they do? They rotated us all the way back down to this 1939. And we came down here a couple times, okay, buyers found value in around the 1940, 1939.75, and then we worked our way back up again. Okay, and we're currently we accepted the 47.75, and then currently on Friday we went up and we didn't quite get to 1953 on Friday, which was my key level that I was watching above. We got as high as, oh, sorry, we did hit it. We got as high as 54 and fell off. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat. So right now we're trading back up here in this balance. The key line below us is going to be, it's showing 1951, but what I'm really watching is 1950, because if we fall below that, we're likely to come down here and look for buyers today down here at 1947.75. But if we don't find them and we break this 1944, we could come down. And I don't think we're going to hold the next time we come down to this 39 level. I think we're actually, the next big destination below us is going to be all the way down here at this 1927.25. So just keep that in mind as we start our homework session and go through our numbers. So let's look at the numbers. You know, the big number above us, of course, is the 1960, which is the all-time high, and our month high. Remember, our month open is at 1921.25. Where are we trading right this second? This is something I wanted to talk about. We are trading 1952 right now. So let's take a look at the at where we are in our 20-day ATR full session range. I'm going to just jump around here for a bit. So our 20-day ATR target, our ATR range right now is 13 points. This is the last trading day of the month. We're trading 1950, 152 area, and our month low, our month open is this 1921. That's prior month open. Sorry, I'm having trouble with my mouse this morning. 1921.25. So we would actually have to hit 2 times or greater than 2 times the 20-day ATR full session range in order to get back to that 1921.25. So to me, we're hitting critical mass. What I mean by that is that we're in a bullish month right now, and we're 2 times the ATR range above the month open. There's no likely way, you know, unless we had a huge sell-off this morning, that we're going to get anywhere near 1921.25. So basically, we're hit critical mass. When that happens, okay, you have to look at the possibility that you get capitulation from the sellers and the buyers take control and will drift up, you know, into the close of the month and you know, probably go in and possibly make a new high. So just keep that in mind. We are coming close to hitting that critical mass. Taking a look at Friday, we did have a Globex lower low on all the key numbers. Lower open at 48.25, lower high at 50, lower low at 42.75, and we opened auction in range at 44.75. We broke the IB to both sides for a neutral day. Again, we had a neutral, normal variation, normal, neutral. This is rotational. This is finding balance in this area around, you know, that 9-day balance that we're in, and we could see another rotational day. I think we're going to see a rotational day with an upside drift. Personally, that's my main hypothesis, and we'll talk about it. Looking at our intraday numbers. Our opening swing high 48.75, opening swing low 44.75 for a 4-point. There's our auction logic checklist. Make sure we opened auction in range. We had a wide opening swing, 4 points. You're looking for a rotational day, and we did get one. Our initial balance high 48.75, initial balance low 44.75, smaller than normal initial balance, points towards a rotational day. 12:30 number 45.25, high 54, low 43.75, and we closed at 52.25, and our VPOC shifted back up to 1948.50. 20-day ATR targets are now expanding. We have just over 11 a quarter on the RTH, just over 13 on the full session, and just under 7 on the Globex. We're getting back to normal here. Our value area high, 49.50, value area low, 44, was higher in both instances, and we had a 5.5 point value area range when we broke the IB to the high side inside that first pocket at 9:42 Central. Lower than normal volume, but it was a Friday. No big deal there. Taking a look at the daily report, we have news that just came out in the last half hour, which was the Canadian GDP, but the big one is going to be the pending home sales at 9 Central, 10 Eastern, with Chicago PMI 15 minutes just ahead of it. So you're going to have some news on the open, so watch your levels, keep your risk tight on the open. Want to go take a look at the COT report. This is a little bit troubling to me, not troubling for, in general sense, but it's making me worry about my swing short. I haven't been able to work my swing short as actively as I liked, and currently right now I've got my stop at 1974.75 with my Theo up at 1992.75. I did some shorts over the week, but I didn't do it in my swing account. Oh, thank you. And you can see that on the COT report from Friday that we've been watching the fact that the smart money, the commercial and the large spec, were net negative. But you can see last week that the smart money is starting to re-engage here. In fact, the commercial paper is neutral right now, just sitting right on the zero line, and then the large spec has come up, and then the retailers have dropped off. This leads me to believe that there is still room to go to the upside if these smart monies get back engaged. So let's take a look at the 20-day ATRs on the daily report. Let's see what they give us. Overnight high is 1950. Sorry, I'm having troubles with my notes. 1953.75 overnight high, 1948 overnight low. This is the full session high and low so far. And so far that gives us a full session ATR target above at 1960.75. That would be putting in a new all-time high. And then our to the low side, 1940.75, and that takes us down to where we went and looked for buyers a few times now. So let's take a look at the trend macro to micro. I want to take, always do our routine. Good slope and separation on the monthly. Got, us trading in the upper distribution of the, of the current month with the 1960 near all-time highs. Now there is a couple of measured moves you want to keep an eye on. You've got the one. I'll have to bring this down. You've got the 100% extension up here at 1963.75 from the last swing low on the daily, with the 127 extension all the way up here at 2007. And this makes me worried for my swing short. I was hoping to get my swing short Theo up above 2020, and I don't know if I'm going to have time to do it if we don't get some type of a big retrace. Going down to the weekly, same thing, good slope, good separation. Trend is very much intact on the weekly. On the daily, same thing. We keep holding the 20 SMA, and we are currently above the 9 EMA. We've got slope and separation. Trend is intact on the daily. Just taking a look at the geometrics, I did go down to the 4-hour to find the opposing downward sloping fork. So it's on the 4-hour, and the A-point, it's modified shift, and A-point is the 1960. So we're currently right at this energy point right here. It's still early to tell whether this fork is going to be valid or not. Right now the key is this the short-term upward sloping fork here. We're currently holding right on the lower line. We've come up and tested the intermediate upper line and rejected it, but we haven't fallen off yet and come all the way back down to the center line. And then we've got the middle line of the long-term upward sloping fork, just above us still, up in that 1975 range. So watch the level right here at 1951, but it's 1950 that I'm really watching. If we get below that, we could come down today, and I would have a target down here at 1940, 175, but I'd be watching that 1940 level personally. And then, a big move, we did have it, which is not likely, would take us all the way down to 1914.50. You know how I feel about that 1914.50. So let's just go back and take a look at the trends in the intraday and see if we've got any trends happening coming into the RTH session. A little bit of a pop here and overnight, and then we created a tech gap, and we basically closed the tech gap, and we're holding the 9 EMA. They came down and tested the 20 SMA, but buyers stepped in and held us up overnight. But there's a bit of a trend starting here. We've got slope and separation on the 4-hour, but it's very very early on. In the 30-minute, more of a consolidation sideways here. 15-minute, same thing, no real trend. And let's just go down and take a look at the 5-minute. And the 5-minute, we were starting to get a trend, created a tech gap, came down, closed the gap, and they're trying to hold the 9 EMA, but we're losing slope and we're losing separation, so no real trend on the 5-minute. All right, so let's go take a look at the big picture here. So we're currently right above this 1950 51 CLVN. This is also the 5-day value area high at 1950. And you can see that Friday we had a double distribution, and the LVN on Friday is 1950, which is just above the value area high at 49.50. So what's going to happen here is if we open up inside of this upper distribution, okay, we're going to be inside of range but outside of value. So I would look for them, to come down and test this 1950, possibly the 1949, okay, and this is going to be our key trade level today. So it's really going to be between this 49.50 and 50.50. And call it a slush range, as always. If we come down and test it, don't get short until we break below 1949.75 for a move down to take out the naked VPOC here at 1948.50. And then once we're below this, okay, the key level and where we went down overnight is down in this 1947.75. And this is what I was pointing out last night, that, we're likely to come down here if we break, the balance around this 53. We're likely to come down and find buyers down here at 47.75 near the overnight low, which was 48. So our overnight low is 48. And let me just bring up, I just want to make sure we haven't put in a new overnight high. No, 1953. So we have 1953 as our overnight high, 53.75, which is basically one tick off the range high, and our VPOC is not likely to change for the Globex at 51.50. That's basically right where we're trading right now. And you've got the naked close here at 52.25. So I'll be watching this 1950 like a hawk. you're in this upper distribution. We're likely to, if we don't come down and test this 50 and reject it and then move up, which is the trade I'm looking for. I'm looking for them to test the value area high and the LVN and then rotate up through the overnight VPOC and come up and at least hit this 1953, if not push through to take out the overnight high. Remember, 96% probability of taking the overnight high or low, as long as we're above this 1950 LVN and the key CLVN on the composite and above the 5-day value range. I'd be looking for them to, rotate back up to see if they can find sellers up here at this 1953 area. The first target I would really target above is going to be this 52.75, just in front of that. Sorry, my TF chart got in the way. The first target I would look and run in front of that 53 is the HVN from the upper distribution here at 52.75, but that's where you want to get get scaled, but you want to keep a runner to see if they'll come and test the overnight high and the range high at 54. Above 54, there's really nothing up there until you get to 55.50, and that's where I'd be looking for responsive sellers to possibly step in to hold us inside. The 55.50 is the value area high of the microcomposite going all the way back to that 5/26 date. So if we come up there, look for responsive sellers to step in. It's also this key CLVN. You've got 56.75, but I personally don't think 56.75 is going to be that important. I think it's going to be the 55, 50, 55.75 area. Above that, target 58.75. But at this point in time, we're going to be, testing the all-time highs at 1960, which is definitely going to be, our big target above. That's our 20-day ATR target as well, full session target up at 60.75, but 60's got to be the number because of the fact that it is the the all-time high. And then we've got a measured move 100% at 63.50. And then we've got that former one at 1966 and 1969.50. I'm keeping those intact. I think it's going to be a smaller range today. I think it's just going to be a rotational day with an upside drift to test that 1954, possibly come up and test the other side of balance around this microcomposite CLVN. Microcomposite VPOC at 53, test the other side of balance up at that 55.50. But if we get below the 50 and inside of value below the 49.50, our value area high, look for a rotation down to take out the 48.50 and the 48. 48.50 naked VPOC overnight low at 48 with the target. Okay, the main target below down here at 47.75, which is just below the overnight low. So I would actually be targeting 47.75 to be tagged, beyond the overnight low at 48. And then the other side of balance down here is, down here at 44.25. Our value area low is 44 and our range low is 43.75. So I'd be using the 44 as a center point around those three levels. And then if we break out a value and out of range, you've got a nice target below down here at 43 with the main target outside of range and outside of value all the way down here at the value area low of the 5-day microcomposite, the CHVN at 1940, and the prior microcomposite VPOC at 39.25. So you got this whole 1939 to 1940 as a main target below range and below value. Look for that to get tested. And I'm just going to use 1940 as the number because that's inside one tick inside of value, and but you could extend through to this 39. And then if we don't hold that, look for them to test the other side of balance around that 40 down at 37.75. And that's where I'd be looking for support. This 37.75 is going to be increasingly more important to us in holding up in this area. If we break below, we break below that 37.75, then I think we've got an interim high put in, and we're going to see a bigger rotation. With the key, first target below is going to be down here at this 34. Come on, buttons work for me today. And then the other side of balance around this 34, you've really got this undetermined, area of undetermined value with 34, 31 and a quarter, and 29.50 and 27 and a quarter. So I'm just going to target this 1931 and a quarter. I don't think we're going to get much below that. So that's what I'm looking at on the ES. My main hypothesis is to chop around in this upper distribution, come down, test the 1950, find responsive buyers, keep us outside of value, and then rotate up through and take out that 1953 and the overnight high 1953.75, and sort of chop around the upper distribution and test that Friday range high at 54 and go up and test the other side of balance around 53 at the CLVN at 55.50. Secondary hypothesis is to come down, break back into value, come in and take out the overnight high, the overnight low and the naked VPOC, and then find buyers and sort of chop around between the upper and the lower distribution, playing ping pong between 53 and 47.75 between these two CHVNs. Third hypothesis is we get some revaluation. They come down here and they break this 44 and a quarter level, and they come down and we test the lower distribution of our micro composite in around this 1939, and we chop around here and possibly testing this 37.75. I'm not expecting more than that today. Maybe a pop down into 34, but again, that's my secondary hypothesis. Let's take a quick look at what that looks like on the Renko with Keltner. Boom, boom, boom. So right now, perfect. Our center line is 51 and a quarter. If we hold above it, a move to take up the the Keltner upper channel would take us up into that 57 and a quarter area. So just before, and by the time we get there, it's likely to be closer to 58.75. Break below the Keltner center line and move down to take out the Keltner lower line will take us down into that 45.50. Basically right into this lower distribution down here, and possibly do a walk the line down the 44, 43 area. Let's take a quick look at gold. I want to look at gold. There is a pattern here. I'd be watching this flagpole. It's not huge, but you've got a flag pole formation with a measured move up to 1362.70 on it. If you measure from the breakout, right here, it could be a little bit lower, but it is a pattern. The only problem is if we move up in the indices, I think this pattern could fail and we break. There's a nice short that's setting up on gold if it happens, and that's with that 1307. And I want you to think about this because if this happens, we're going to get a move to new highs in the indices. But we're finding balance right now in around this 1317 area. If we come down and break below this 1307, you've got a couple really nice things. You've got, basically a measured move, to take, to retest the 50% of the significant breakout candle, and a move down to test 1300. I think you got a nice $700 trade. As long as you get in and get funded on one contract, before we get to the range low at 1305.60. But I think that you've got on a single contract, I think you got to move down to that 1299, and more likely a breach into the 1200s again and back down to the composite VPOC. This is the most accepted price going back all the way to 2008, and I don't think that we've seen it. We're going to get away from it that easy. We chopped around it, fell out of balance, went down to that 1241, found buyers where we thought they'd find them, but they didn't spend any time back up at this 1293. They blew right by it. So I think that we're likely going to run out of inventory. They're going to have to go into price discovery, break out of this range, and come back down here to this 1293. So I will be short in gold above 1307. Now, the measured move on that flagpole takes us up to 1362.70. So I wouldn't try to get into it on the breakout because there's just too much balance around here. What I would do is I would wait for them to break the value area high here at 1320 and target this 1324, if not 1323.30 to get funded, and then a push to test the range high up at 1326.80, and if they get through, your measured move is right here up at the CHVN. So it's not a bad trade, but I think you gotta wait until you get above this 1320 value area and get outside of this value. It's pretty tight around here. But if we get a blow off top in the indices, we're likely to come down and test the range low and come back down into the test of 1300 and possibly 1200s down to that 1293 area. Taking a look, I've got not a lot of time, so I'm just going to, I've already done this homework early, so I'm just going to bring it up here in the room, and you guys can go back and read it. As of when I was writing this earlier, we were trading right back inside balance of the 9 days and inside of Friday's range and Friday's value. Most accepted price for the 9 days is at 1178.20. Overnight low is 77, and the inventory is net short of Friday's close at 1182.30. So likely to be two-sided trading off the open. Keep it tight. Key level below us right now is the value area low from Friday at 1178.10, which is right on that 9-day balance or microcomposite VPOC. Below that, we can see a rotation to test the other side of balance and a key support level at the CLVN at 1176.30. If we don't hold above that level, look for a move down to test the range low from Friday at 1170.90, and then we've got the outside of the value area low down there for the 9-day microcomposite down at 1169.30. And then below that, we're into price discovery again, and we've got 1168.30, which has given us some support last week, but below that, 1165.50 and 1163.40. 1163.40 is a key line in the sand for us because below that we could get a larger move down into the former balance down around that microcomposite VPOC at 1159.10. And then there's not much down there until we get to the other side at 1153.40, and then below 1153.40 I think we're getting a rotation down into that multi-distribution area around 1146.50. And then you've got the 44, 43, and 41.20, which are the undetermined fair value in around that area. But the big one is down at 1137.50 CLVN. Below that, I think the interim highs are in, and we get a bigger rotation down. Don't think we're going to get there today. But if we hold above the 1178, then look to take the naked VPOC out if they haven't already done it at 1180.80. Overnight shorts will be caught in the whole short at this point in time, and we could get an upper rotation towards the microcomposite VPOC and the former microcomposite VPOC and the current value area high, microcomposite value area high at 82.30. And then we've got, that's also the naked close, and we'll close the gap. And then we've got the overnight high at 1183.20, just above that, with the value area high in Friday at 1185.30 and the range high at 1185.50. And then if we're outside of value and outside of range, first target is 1186. But the big number above is still 92, with a major target up at that 1195.90, the former microcomposite VPOC. And then once we're up in the the mid 90s, I think we're going to make new highs. We'll test the 1200s, take out the all-time high at 1203.80, and look for the rule of 10 to kick in and move up to 1210. So that's what I'm looking at in the Russell. So that's going to complete our morning homework session. As always, trade well, trade safe, and we'll catch you on the flip side.